Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it is my great pleasure to open the Global Consultation Day on International Geneva, the heart of human rights and humanity. I thank the Geneva NGO Committee on the Status of Women for organizing this event ahead of the 65th session of the Commission on the Status of Women. The active mobilization of civil society actors and women's groups towards the Commission sessions have historically been the strength of this important UN mechanism and an example of inclusive multilateralism with civil society having its place at the table to the benefit of the informed decision-making process by the member states. As the battle against COVID-19 continues, the international community needs to recover better by ensuring that a post-pandemic world has gender equality at its core, and that it is more just, more sustainable, and more inclusive for all. Women will continue to play a key role in the development and implementation of COVID-19 recovery plans. Since the founding of the United Nations and the recognition of gender equality in the Charter, the international community has come a long way towards affirming the rights of women around the world. Our achievements include the creation of the Commission on the Status of Women and the adoption of various international agreements and policy documents, such as Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, or the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 on Women, Peace and Security. In 2015, by adopting the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, all UN member states recognized that gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but also an essential foundation for sustainable peace and development. The UN 75th Anniversary Initiative, organized last year, was conceived as a series of worldwide dialogues with the people about the future we want. Three important takeaways of these initiatives are: people, women and men, want greater international cooperation. They want to be included in international decision-making, and they want the UN to take an active role in shaping global solutions. Achieving gender equality is one of the highest priorities of the United Nations. The gender parity strategy, launched by Secretary General in 2017, aims to create a more diverse, inclusive, gender-balanced United Nations. To date, gender parity has been reached at the senior managers level of the United Nations Secretariat and among resident coordinators. The organization currently has the highest number in its history of women as head and deputy head of mission in peace operations. At the United Nations office at Geneva, we are approaching gender parity, with 48% of women currently working at UNOC across all professional levels, as compared to 44%, with only 38.8% at senior levels in 2015. We are resolute to continue in this direction and take every opportunity to defy gender stereotypes and promote women's empowerment. International Geneva has always led by example in this and plays a central role in connecting various actors for achieving our global goals. International Geneva is a hub for inclusive multilateralism and expertise in many areas, from human rights, disarmament and trade to migration, development and climate action, to name but a few. Geneva hosts a rich ecosystem of representatives of member states, UN entities, civil society, academic and research institutions, media outlets, as well as the private sector. These entities rely on each other's expertise and experiences in developing innovative solutions across sectors and thematic silos. Achieving great equality goes way beyond the numbers, although parity is, of course, important. It is also about changing mindsets and establishing an enabling and inclusive working environment for all, free from gender bias and discrimination. Let me give you some examples of Geneva's innovative approaches to promoting gender equality. The first one is the International Gender Champions Leadership Network that brings together female and male decision makers determined to break down gender barriers and make gender equality a working reality. This collaborative initiative was launched in Geneva in 2015 by the former Director General of UNOC, former US Ambassador to the UN in Geneva, and the founder of the NGO Women at the Table. In just 6 years, the initiative has expanded to other multilateral hubs in New York, Vienna, Nairobi, Paris, and The Hague. Over 400 international gender champions from international organizations, member states, civil society, and private sector entities have role-modeled concrete and often joint actions to advance gender equality within their organizations and through programmatic work. All champions also signed the panel parity pledge, and it is now unthinkable for us in Geneva and in these other capitals to have only male or only female panel discussions. I personally joined the network upon assuming my post in 2019, and I am proud that UNOC continues to make significant progress in transforming our own organizational culture through various activities and without additional resources. Some examples include the development of our own policy on gender equality, staff surveys to measure progress, the campaign against casual sexism, the programs to strengthen career development and leadership skills for female professionals, flexible working arrangements, the code of conduct to prevent harassment at official meetings, and the construction of a second breastfeeding room. The second example is our efforts to harness the richness of the international Geneva community towards the achievement of the global goals through the so-called SDG Lab. It is a platform embedded in my office to assist the member states and other partners in the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals, including Goal 5 on gender equality. The SDG Lab facilitates dialogues, connects political partners, and encourages the exchange of best practices and innovative ideas among Geneva-based actors and beyond. The SDG Lab's So What series is an interactive dialogue that explores the interlocking themes of the 2030 Agenda by discussing the linkages between seemingly unrelated SDGs. 2 events were organized by the SDG Lab to look at gender and innovation and gender and sustainable cities. These events generate new ways of operating and partnering within the Geneva ecosystem and beyond. In the immediate future, UN Geneva is also preparing a 4 exhibition for the 1st May, International Workers' Day, entitled Not a Woman's Job? To acknowledge and support women across the globe in professions traditionally associated with a man's world, such as entrepreneurs, filmmakers, security officials, airline pilots, ship's captains, or football referees. The exhibition will highlight stories of women who contributed to breaking down deep-rooted gender stereotypes. I invite you all to take part in this exhibition. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, every March, the international community focuses on gender equality in the context of the International Women's Day and the Commission on the Status of Women. Events are organized, speeches are delivered, and commitments are made. Yet, despite progress in this area, our goals are far from being achieved, and the COVID-19 pandemic threatens to set us further back. We can only reach our goals by working together across entities, themes, and genders, and by pushing back against the pushback on women's rights. Do not lower your guard. We need everybody on board. Thank you.